Hello, welcome to Virtual Concert Hall's live programs. Thank you for joining us today. Our channel is dedicated to bringing live performances and events from international artists to audiences around the globe. I am Fyodor Ouspensky, and I will be your host today. Welcome to the colORCHESTRA 2022 to 2023 concert season. This uniquely designed audition is open to musicians of all ages who are available for soloist engagements within the 2022 and 23 and the 23 to 24 concert seasons. Selected artists will be awarded an appearance opportunity to perform solo with the esteemed professional orchestra. This two-tiered audition has no accompanying requirements, is readily accessible, and honors musicians' own choice of repertoire. We want artists to show what they feel they do best. Today we invite you to the live broadcast of the first concert in the series of two which present winners of colORCHESTRA auditions performing with the Western New York Chamber Orchestra, conducted by Glen Cortese. The concert is about to take place at a glorious sanctuary of the Westminster Presbyterian Church in Buffalo. Westminster is a Presbyterian congregation in downtown Buffalo, comprised of members from every corner of Western New York. Our open and progressive community is welcoming to individuals of all ages, race, socioeconomic status, sexuality, gender identity, citizenship status, or religious affiliation. Worship is at the center of Westminster's life and ministry. Westminster Presbyterian also is a congregation which embraces interfaith collaboration for the common good and has strong relationships with many congregations in the area, with Temple Beth Zion, Congregation Shur Shalom, the Islamic Society of Niagara Frontier, the Muslim Public Affairs Council, and the Buffalo chapter of the Zen Mountain Monastery of Eastern New York and Brooklyn. I apologize if some of those weren't perfectly pronounced, but there's a big list there. Westminster Presbyterian enjoys a rich, exquisite music program. Westminster believes in the phrase, "They that sing pray twice." You are about to hear live a true feast of instrumental concertos, a unique program composed of 6 concertos written for a variety of instruments and for stylistic periods ranging from Baroque to classical to Romantic. Westminster Presbyterian Church there is the program, you can see it right here. It has we were going to be opening with the Concerto in D major by Vivaldi, and then we're going to be moving through the time period further to a Concerto in E minor by Felix Mendelssohn. And then we'll have an intermission, and then we will go to Concerto by Weber, and the Concerto in F minor. And then we will end with the Saint-Saëns Concerto in A minor. And that is the full program. We have guitar, violin, and then clarinet and cello, a full range of all kinds of instruments for all tastes and all time periods. These concerts are presented by Virtual Concert Halls in partnership with many affiliations, many programs, including Brilliant Talent Discovery Awards, Progressive Musicians, Core Productions, Western New York Chamber Orchestra, SUNY, which stands for State University of New York at Fredonia, Westminster Presbyterian Church of Buffalo, of course, and Sound Espressivo, the competition, with additional support from iClassical Academy of Switzerland, World Piano Teachers Association, and the History of Music channel. Let's take a quick look at what the colORCHESTRA auditions were about.
colORCHESTRA is hosting international auditions this fall 2022 for voice, strings, winds, and piano for the chance to perform with a live professional orchestra. Our selected performers will be broadcast internationally performing concerti, arias, or songs. Submit your favorite videos of you performing today.
Auditionees from many countries are seeking guidance and support from the judges through live comments, which the judges provide live on air right after each contestant performs. The format of colORCHESTRA auditions is designed by Soundist Percivo to provide live interactive experience for all involved performers, judges, and you, our supportive audience. Music is a language of human interaction. We invite people to connect through these auditions and to make long-lasting relationships with music and each other. Through additional educational programs, colORCHESTRA is also striving to support musicians who prepare for these kinds of auditions and competitions. We invite our virtual audience to add your comments and to chat in whatever platform you are using. We will bring in your comments on screen and we will respond as well. Today's live broadcast is brought to you by none other but Virtual Concert Halls. The production team, consisting of Fedor Uspensky, myself, hosting today and producing, with Frane Rusinovic, as well as Anna Uspenskaya, Ante Bosik Kudrik, Chris Au, and Igor Zubkovsky, all working behind the scenes in many of the productions, including the production today. Today's concert, the one this coming Sunday at King's Concert Hall of Rockefeller Center in Fredonia, that's the one that's on Sunday as well, are the culminating events of a months-long project. The 6 soloists were chosen through the rigorous auditioning process by an international panel of judges in a setting of public internet broadcast. The judges were providing live on-air comments, as I've said before, after each of the auditioneers' performances. Let's have a quick preview of these artists' winning performances at the finals of the colORCHESTRA audition. Beautiful playing from everybody. And now all of those performers have arrived in Fredonia a few days ago for rehearsals with the WNYCO, the orchestra, and to perform these concerts. The soloists came from the US, Israel, China, and France. That in itself is a manifestation of the power of music to unite people over barriers of geography, disagreements, conflicts, language, overcoming all of it. Now, let's meet the organizers of colORCHESTRA auditions and these concerts, which make this possible. The organizers are Col Productions, Brilliant Talent Discovery Awards, Progressive Musicians, Virtual Concert Halls, Western New York Chamber Orchestra, SUNY, Westminster Presbyterian Church, where the concerts are happening, iClassical, and World Piano Teacher Association, History of Music, Soundist Pacific Global Competition, all of these. And now we can hear the orchestra is tuning, and I'm getting a cue that it may be time for us to go to the stage. It is time for us for that. You can see the audience is clapping. Please enjoy the concert, and we'll see.
With that being said, I invite you to take a moment and silence all of your electronic devices. This concert is the culmination of a year and a half of work of the international team of artists and arts administrators from Brilliant Talent Discovery Awards, Core Productions, Progressive Musicians, Sound Espressivo, Virtual Concert Halls, and the Western New York Chamber Orchestra. I can say, as a native Buffalonian,
A beautiful performance by both Julio and Timothy. Thank you everyone for watching. We are now in intermission. I'm going to talk a little bit more about colORCHESTRA as well as some other things and interviews that these wonderful musicians have done. The goal of the colORCHESTRA project is to encourage, nurture, and empower musicians who are proactive about sharing their art and developing their careers. Together, we are providing opportunities for musicians to discover their unique artistic voice, take initiative, present themselves on their own terms, and carve out their own career paths. We are aiming at connecting live music with the audience anywhere and everywhere in the world. We ask our viewers to please feel free to comment. Use the chat box on whatever platform you are watching. These broadcasts can be viewed live and later as replays. We are on every major social and video platform as well as on many websites, so please feel free, use your choice of social media and spread the word and continue listening. Today, the 6 musicians from around the world take center performing stage with the Western New York Chamber Orchestra under the baton of Glen Cortese, the conductor and music director of the WNYCO. The musicians in the Western New York Chamber Orchestra bring an amazing range of talent, training, and experience to King Concert Hall. Their backgrounds represent virtually every major school of music and conservatory in the country. Many former members of our orchestra are now in major symphony orchestras throughout the United States. These musicians' love of music and of this orchestra brings them from all over Western New York and Pennsylvania to rehearse and perform together. Several of them often stay with friends of the orchestra during rehearsal weeks. This ensemble of outstanding players includes faculty at the Fredonia School of Music, or SUNY, and I apologize, I was saying SUNY, it is SUNY University of Fredonia, and professional musicians from the Buffalo, Rochester, Erie areas, and even further away. And I'd like to also mention and talk about Steve Robinson, who is a fantastic interviewer who is doing interviews, and he's a radio manager. I'm going to talk about him in just a second here. So on Sunday, we will be welcoming on-air live commentary provided by Steve Robinson. He's the radio manager, producer, and an executive producer. A 50-year radio veteran, he has produced programs ranging from classical music documentaries to public affairs programs, and has directed over 100 on-air pledge drives. In 1984, he co-founded AIR, A-I-R, the Association of Independents in Radio, a service organization to assist independent radio producers in the United States. So this person has been around for many years, doing incredible work on radio and with these interviews that he will be doing. He has done with these musicians. To say more, in 2015, he executed a cross-cultural broadcast relationship between America and China by exporting to China for the first time broadcasting concerts by the New York Philharmonic, LA Philharmonic, San Francisco Symphony, and Dallas Symphony, as well as Chamber Music Society of Lincoln Center and Carnegie Hall. He also arranged for concerts from the Shanghai Spring International Music Festival and the Shanghai Symphony Orchestra to be exported to the West with broadcasts in the United States, Canada, and Europe. In 2008, Robinson and Bill McLaughlin received Dushkin Award for Exploring Music with Bill McLaughlin from the Music Institute of Chicago. So we will be hearing these interviews with Steve, talking to the musicians about their travel here, about their experience with music, and just why they chose the program they did, what they love about the program that they performed today and are performing on Sunday. So definitely stay tuned for that. So yeah, I believe we have some videos that you guys will be able to see of the interviews.
And now I'm very happy to see in our studio Julio Reyes, the soloist for the upcoming concert. Welcome, Julio. A great pleasure to see you.
Well, thank you, Anna. Thank you for having me. I'm really looking forward. I was just listening to the violinist. Oh my goodness, there's some great players here, so I better be on my A game today.
You may need to unpack your instrument and practice a little bit, right?
Yeah, really.
But listen, I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions before. I know it's not the best time. You're all immersed in the rehearsing, but I'm going to take just a few minutes.
That's fine. That's fine.
I know you started the guitar at a very young age with your father, who was a diplomat in Paraguay in South America. So what an interesting beginning. And then you also studied cello, and eventually you became a cellist, a principal cellist with the Auckland Symphony Orchestra.
Auckland Symphony Youth Orchestra, not the main orchestra, the youth orchestra.
Okay.
Okay, and we're back. We'll have more of these interviews in the future at the end after the concert. But now that we have only so much time with the intermission, let's watch the Steve interview with the President Collison and Professor Rob Demuth. Please enjoy.
Well, hello. We're very happy to have two very distinguished guests with us for a very brief interview. First is Dr. Stephen H. Collison, Jr., who became the 14th president of the State University of New York at Fredonia, started his duties on June 29th, 2020, right at the beginning of the pandemic, which must have been quite challenging, and we'll discuss that. Dr. Collison has a distinguished record of serving in faculty and leadership positions, and I could give his resume now for about the next half hour, but I just want to single out one thing. He was at the University of Indianapolis, UIndy, from April 2017 until August of 2020, and under his leadership in there as chief academic officer, UIndy conferred its first degrees in industrial and system engineering, mechanical engineering, and software engineering, and he worked with the faculty to plan and offer 10 new degree programs, including electrical engineering, general engineering, and data analytics, and that just barely scratches the surface. President Collison, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
And we're also happy to have with us Rob Demuth, faculty member at Fredonia. He's the recipient of the 2018 ASCAP Deems Taylor Virgil Thompson Internet Award. Rob is a composer, a conductor, an educator, an author, and an advocate, and his works have been commissioned all over the place, from the Buffalo Philharmonic to the University of Texas, the Rasher Saxophone Quartet, and so many other soloists as well. And this jumped out at me from his resume. His work as an advocate for underrepresented composers led him to create the Institute for Composer Diversity. And that's a program I wasn't familiar with. We'll discuss that a little bit if we have time as well. Gentlemen, I want to begin by just asking you this question. Perhaps President Collison can answer this. The liberal arts and music are widely accepted as essential and powerful fields with unmatched potential for bettering our communities and for society's well-being and for helping students develop their own goals in life. And the positive impact of the arts on mental health, for example, are incalculable. At the same time, we know all too well that the arts and those who work in the arts are facing challenges. Music education is being cut in the schools, budgets are being cut, and then particularly in the aftermath of the pandemic, all those challenges have just been amplified. So I'm wondering, President Collison, what do you see as your school's and your art department's roles in addressing some of those challenges?
Certainly. Thank you so much for what I consider to be a very important question, especially in the context in which we live today. It's about relevance. When the question actually come down to that. Here at SUNY Fredonia, we find this to be a very viable tradition on our part. This is part of the fabric of our institution. And not only that, we prepare our students to go out and be successful in the field, but also to be advocates of the arts. And so we give it a very high priority. We also train our students to be connected so that when they are out as professionals, they are also connecting with people who can influence the decisions at the national level, at the regional level, and at the state level. So through advocacy and through various connections, we do everything we can to make sure that these areas remain very, very relevant to the education of our students, and not only that, for preparing young people throughout this country.
Right. And Dr. Diemer, this concert in particular is being produced under the auspices of SUNY at Fredonia. How do you see this concert, this particular concert, as important to furthering these goals, and how is the university participating directly?
Sure. So this concert is kind of a collaboration between the university, the School of Music, as well as the Western New York Chamber Orchestra, as well as other organizations as well. And I think that's part of one of the important parts of it is the fact that you're collaborating. We tell our students a lot that collaboration between themselves and others is important, but this is very useful as kind of a model to be able to show this is how the university can work with their community, as well as the fact that this particular concert is integrating musicians from all over the world, from China and from France and Israel, as well as the United States. And, in order to be able to demonstrate to our own students and our own community that what happens here in a relatively small community in Fredonia can actually have large impacts around the world, I think this is a really good model for that.
And will students have an opportunity to attend this concert? And I wonder what their reaction will be, because if I'm not mistaken, the students the people who are performing are pre-college. I think to many of them. I think it's a mixture of pre-college and college. I wonder if they'll be inspired by seeing these brilliant musicians soloing with your orchestra.
I think so. We've had a number of other types of examples like that. We do a number of types of events like this, and especially when we can bring folks here, from out of state or even from out of the country to be able to do that. That's always inspiring to our musicians.
Right. And Dr. Collison, how do you envision this concert in the larger picture of what you're trying to accomplish at SUNY Fredonia?
Yes. So I see this concert as a tremendous opportunity for students to learn. I think that add on to what we provide to them on the campus. I also see it as an opportunity for students to network. Again, part of our mission is for our students to be connected not only locally, but regionally and globally. So anytime we have an opportunity to bring such accomplished artists to the campus, I think it's a tremendous opportunity for our students to learn and to connect, and so that in the future, they can network with people of this caliber.
And when you mention networking, it's interesting because this concert, as you know, is being produced by virtual concert halls, and it will be viewed by anybody around the world who has an opportunity to see it, because they're on Twitter and just about every platform you can think of. So it's a wonderful opportunity, I think, for SUNY Fredonia to extend its footprint really globally, and your students in particular will have a chance to witness it in person. So it's really an interesting opportunity. And Rob, as I indicated, or as I mentioned when I was introducing you, and I hope this isn't a digression, but could you tell us a little bit about this Institute for Composer Diversity? And as in your resume, it says you work as an advocate for underrepresented composers, and it led you to start the Institute for Composer Diversity. Tell us a little bit about that institute and what your goals are, what you do there.
Sure. So really briefly, basically this is a project that I started about 5 or 6 years ago. As a small project for my composition students here, to make sure that they know who initially women composers were, and then after that composers of color. Basically it started as a small spreadsheet list so that they could know who to look for, and that just kind of got much larger, and now it's actually the institute is a part of the university. It's sponsored by the university. And basically what we do is we provide online resources for folks to be able to search for music by composers who belong to what we usually term as underrepresented or historically excluded groups, such as women composers, non-binary composers, composers of color, and as well as analysis projects. We actually just did one in collaboration with the League of American Orchestras this last year, showing how programming across the country has really kind of spiked in the last few years in terms of composers like that, and or from those groups, and we seem to be having a bit of an impact on the musical community in that way.
That's really wonderful. I'd love to learn more about it. And then just to conclude our interview, I'm wondering if both of you could just comment on how you'd like to see, what you'd like to see as a response to your efforts for your school's community in general, but in particular in relation to the concert, which is taking place in a few days.
So for me, I'm hoping that this concert and the work we do here in the School of Music and in the Department of the Arts and so on, we inspire people and we create more support for the work in music and in the arts, basically. I think as we started from the beginning, we talk about the challenges that we have to deal with. Sometimes the more people understand and appreciate what is happening, I think then you get more support out in the public, and you get more support, from others who could be powerful advocates for this area of work. And so I'm hoping that all of this helps to inspire our community and people who will come to the concert and also be supporters of the work we do.
Rob, any closing comments about this?
Yeah, I would just say that it's indicative of how broad Fredonia's music program is, that we're able to both collaborate with these various organizations as well as bring in artists from around the world, even though Fredonia, as I mentioned, is a relatively small community in Western New York. It actually has a very large footprint in the musical community, and I think it's wonderful to see that reflected in this concert.
Well, gentlemen, thank you for your time. Good luck at the concert. I'm very eager to listen to it and watch it myself via virtual concert halls, and I thank you again for your time and your participation. Good luck with the concert.
Hi, I'm Joanna Moffitt, here with Santiago Mascarar, the president and founder of the Latin American Cultural Association and owner of El Buen Amigo. When was El Buen Amigo established?
Yeah, we established in Thanksgiving Day 1989. We opened this place. It was very, very humble start, but we look in the potential of the future. And the future is now, and the future is still here
And
Okay?
you began as a place to do fair trade
Yes.
purchases.
Yes.
And the money from those purchases goes back into the
Exactly.
communities that
Yes.
the items in the shop come
Sure.
from, correct?
Sure, correct.
And you also create cultural opportunities for people in Western New York to experience and understand what cultures.
Yes. And when we open the store, we open just with handicraft made by Woman Co-op in poor countries. Peru, Bolivia, Chile, Guatemala, Mexico, El Salvador, Nicaragua, and so on. And we received so many crafts and so many beautiful things. And we are so proud that to share the richness of the Latin American culture with the American Western New York.
All right, you guys can hear the orchestra is about to tune, and we're going to be moving away from the intermission. Thank you for watching, and moving into the second half where we have Itai Hazan playing clarinet, Weber Concerto, and then Nahar Elias playing the cello concerto by Saint-Saëns. Thank you so much for coming, and enjoy. That was wonderful. It was great listening to all the performers. Thank you, Julio, Timothy, Itai, and Nahar for performing. It was wonderful hearing all these different concertos from all these different time periods and composers. Thank you, everybody that's been watching out here online. As I've said, please go on the social medias, comment, interact, tell us how you enjoyed the concert, tell us what you enjoyed, what your favorite was, and yeah, just get involved. And then I'd like to thank everybody for watching, and also thank not only the audience, but of course the performers, and especially the orchestra. I'd like to thank the orchestra. You can see here the members. All of the musicians that are in the orchestra are there. You have the QR code you can scan as well to get to know more about the orchestra. This is the Western New York Chamber Orchestra that was performed with all the soloists. And then also special thanks to the audio and video crew. I'm looking for... Give me 1 second. Oh, yeah. Thank you for the on-site audio and video producers. We got Matt Marco, Garrett Martin, Daniel Waldorf, Brendan Gottinger, Jefferson Westwood, Emily Cox, Tom Lowland, and James Welch. Thank you, all of you, for being on-site, making this production possible. And also, you can see all those names right there. And finally, thanking the crew and staff for making it possible, for being there on site for the hall, as well as the staff and the producers that run the online program from virtual concert halls, as you can see here. It was a pleasure hosting the concert, and it was a pleasure having you guys here. Are we going to have some videos? I believe we will have some more videos for you guys to see. That are interviews of Anna Spenskaya interviewing the performers. Please.
And now I'm very happy to see in our studio Julio Reyes, the soloist for the upcoming concert. Welcome, Julio. A great pleasure to see you.
Well, thank you, Anna. Thank you for having me. I'm really looking forward. I was just listening to the violinist. Oh my goodness, there's some great players here, so I better be on my A game today.
You may need to unpack your instrument and practice a little bit, right?
Yeah, really.
But listen, I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions before. I know it's not the best time. You're all immersed in the rehearsing, but I'm going to take just a few minutes.
That's fine. That's fine.
I know you started the guitar at a very young age with your father, who was a diplomat in Paraguay in South America. So what an interesting beginning. And then you also studied cello, and eventually you became a cellist, a principal cellist with the Auckland Symphony Orchestra.
Auckland Symphony Youth Orchestra, not the main orchestra.
Okay. You also were Maestro Nagano's assistant conductor in that orchestra. Is that correct?
Yes. It happened in a situation where we were the host orchestra in Aberdeen, Scotland, for the Aberdeen Youth Orchestra Festival. It's an Olympic-style event where there are orchestras from all over the world, and we were the host orchestra from the U.S. And there was one time where he saw me working with a quartet that was having a problem playing this Vivaldi piece, and so I was working with him, and he liked the way that I worked with them. And so he, on the drive back, said, "Hey, look, I got this contract to record an album with Frank Zappa, and I'm going to need an assistant. Would you be interested?" So on the flight back, I was, oh my God, I was floating. I was so excited. And so I ended up working for the Oakland Symphony for a few years. And then when Kent left, I continued on. And then when the Oakland Symphony stopped, I stayed for 1 year to keep it going. And then I left. It was time to go. By that time, I'd been associated with them for around, my God, 8 years, 9 years. So it was time to move on. And so I started giving recitals and freelance conducting. And I had stopped playing cello I had a shoulder injury where I couldn't play for almost 4 years. And so I just kept with the guitar, started playing jazz bass also, and freelance conducting, and now I give lectures at conservatories and colleges on the music of a Paraguayan composer and guitarist, Agustin Barrios. He was one of the first ones to ever record an album on guitar. So he's a very, very important person for the guitar. And so my father studied with a student of his, so I have a lot of inside information. And so I'm looking forward to giving a lecture.
That's right. You're giving a lecture on Monday, so you're going to be focusing on the composer during that lecture.
SUNY. So I'm looking forward to doing that.
So you stumbled upon this opportunity to take a baton in your hand and you just run with it.
Well, I started conducting lessons when I was at this music program at Cal Berkeley. It was a 7-week intensive program during the summertime for kids. And that's where I got cello lessons, conducting. We also studied jazz. People that were classical players studied jazz. People that were jazz players were studying classical. So a lot of great musicians came out of there. Benny Green, Joshua Redmond, both Grammy winners that have performed at the Village Vanguard in New York. And so it's put out a lot of great musicians, and I'm just very honored to be an alumna of that group.
That's wonderful. I have another question, maybe a little bit of personal question. The colORCHESTRA auditions is striving to attract musicians not only in the traditional age group up to 30 or whatever the competitions usually limit the age. And we were really concerned that musicians of your or my age may feel like, okay, we're out of our water, we're not ever going to compete again. And we were so happy to see people applying. We had up to age 80 applying for the competition. So you were in a good company. You're not the only one, but of course the majority were the younger musicians. So it seems like maybe we're breaking through that glass ceiling, allowing the competitive stage, to become again available to musicians of all ages. How do you feel about it? What do you think?
I think it's great. I think there are a lot of people, because the whole competition thing hasn't been going on for years and years and years. You know, there were a lot of people like myself when I was, like 20s and 30s. There weren't competitions. There were, but very, very few, and they weren't that well known. And so later on, when all these different competitions came about, it was a thing where a lot of guitarists had to really get into a competition to get any recognition. I mean, you could be a phenomenal player, but if you didn't at least partake in one competition,
you had to put yourself out, right?
And so it's kind of defeating, in a way. And there are a lot of great musicians that are in their 50s, 60s and so forth, that didn't have that opportunity. And it's a real shame, because they are the ones that were bringing up the young ones. They're the ones that were being listened to by those young ones who are now in the competition. So
do you think it makes sense for people of more mature musicians to compete?
I think it's fair as long as you do it the way that progressive musicians is doing it, where you have categories. If you have everybody in the same mix where a 12-year-old is competing with a 40-year-old, that can be kind of hard, because the 12-year-old, hey, he or she could be a great player, but there is something to speak to towards life experience. Life experiences really, really accentuate more your dynamic spectrum. So I think that, yes, a great player at 12 and a great player at 40, 50, but don't put them together. Have categories. That way you can get the cream of the crop in each section, and it makes it fair for everybody.
Yeah, wonderful. I love your optimistic approach and your problem-solving approach to this, and very much looking forward to your performance. You're
Thank you.
Wonderful musician. I remember your auditions; it was so impressive, and I can't wait to hear you with the orchestra.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, that's going to be fabulous. Thank you, Julio, for giving the interview and speaking with me tonight.
Great. Thanks for having me.
Best of luck at the rehearsal.
Thank you.
And now I have in my studio Timothy Shi, fabulous violinist. Timothy, welcome. How was your trip?
It was a long trip, 7 hours here.
Oh my gosh, did you drive?
Yes, we drove.
Did you take a break at least?
Yeah, we took two on the way here. We took one in Pennsylvania and then one here in New York.
So your both parents came with you?
Yep, both my parents and my brother came here with me.
Wonderful. Are you the only violinist in the family?
My brother plays violin too. He started actually 1 year, one year and a half after me. So he's like 2 years younger than me. So yeah.
Aha, so as you're growing up, you're competing against each other.
Yep.
Do you get first dibs on the pieces to choose?
Not really, but sometimes we get into fights over who gets the Bach book, because we do share the same Bach sonatas and partitas book.
Oh, that's terrible to share, because your fingering gets into his
Yeah.
playing and his gets into yours.
Yeah, we like just try to figure it out sometimes. We do have the same teacher, so we usually do have the same fingerings for it.
Aha, wonderful. Well, you're very young and you're already concertmaster of the New Jersey Symphony Academy Orchestra, and you're just a sophomore in high school, aren't you?
Yep, I'm a sophomore.
And you already performed as a guest soloist with the New Jersey Symphony, so that's not the first time you're performing with the symphony orchestra as a soloist, right?
Yeah, I was very lucky to get the opportunity to perform with them. We played the Mozart Concerto number 3.
And now you're playing Mendelssohn Concerto. That's a very challenging piece.
Yep, classical to romantic.
That's right. That's a big jump. And it's also a piece which most people know the first theme of it. It's a very, very famous tune.
Famous for being very technically and intonation. It's very hard, yes.
You know, I heard that. My son is a violinist. He's a Juilliard-trained violinist. And he told me that beginning of Mendelssohn is notorious for being a challenge for intonation-wise. Interesting, I hear it from you too.
Yeah, it's kind of like Sibelius in a way, where you kind of only given 2 bars and then you come in and then you have to be right on that B, and every single note after that has to be in tune, because the orchestra is playing chords of 3 and then it's just...
And you're soaring
forward.
above it. Yeah. Yeah, very exposed. Yeah, great opportunity. But listen, I know you have a lot of knowledge about musicians and performers, and some of them really inspire you to go forward with your violin study and your pursuit. Can you tell me a little bit about those people you look up to and why, especially?
Yeah, so I really look up to Yo-Yo Ma. I mean, it really just started because of a concert of the NJSOs where I was invited to it, and we got to see him perform the Dvorak Cello Concerto, and it really inspired me because I would see him performing in front of the audience so confident, and then all the solos, like the solo in the 3rd movement with the first violinist, Eric Warwick, it was just amazing. I really enjoyed it, and it also like made me think about chamber playing, because he was listening and interacting with the orchestra as he was playing, and that just really inspired me to look more into not just solo music but also chamber and orchestral music.
That's wonderful. So you're learning from the best. You're going to learn the best there is to learn.
Yep.
Great. Now, listen, Timothy, I'm sure you're exhausted from your trip and the rehearsal, which you had to jump into right away. And we heard little bits and parts of your virtuosic playing in there. Some sound was bleeding into the room where you are being interviewed. Yeah, it was great. I'm so looking forward to hearing you in that concert.
Thank you so much.
And best of luck. Enjoy your trip.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
You earned it. See you.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow. Mhm.
See you.
And now we have in our studio another soloist of the colORCHESTRA. Itay hasn't just arrived from Israel. Did you fly from Israel, Itay?
Yes.
My goodness, that's across the world. Welcome to the very cold upstate New York. How do you feel?
Quite well, thank you.
Wonderful. And you're almost ready to start rehearsing with the Western New York Chamber Orchestra. That's exciting.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, tomorrow's first concert. Wonderful. So Itay is studying clarinet currently with Professor Ilya Schwartz. Is that in Israel, or are you studying in France?
Yeah, it's in Israel, but my brother is studying in France, and maybe in the future.
Yeah, the world is all yours. It's a small globe here. And you've performed as a soloist and as a chamber musician. And at your very young age, you're very accomplished already. You won a lot of prizes and awards, national and international level. And you were even the second prize winner of the 2022 American Virtuoso International Music Competition. And you will be performing in the winner's concert at the Carnegie Hall. I heard that.
Yeah.
That's very exciting. Wonderful. But I have a question a little bit unrelated to all of your successes. You come from a very interesting family. It's a family of professional and very accomplished musicians. Is that right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I got a lot of family members that practice music and learn music and currently are considering some musicians. So it's
Yeah, we heard
natural
your mother accompanying at the auditions. That was extraordinary. And you worked so well with your mother. You know, not all children can really perform well and rehearse, especially with their parents. So what is it like to be in a family surrounded by professional musicians? Do you feel intimidated that they're watching you, they hear you, they comment all the time?
intimidated, perhaps sometimes, but you know, it's more like gaining more experience as the time goes and having more opinions to hear and on how to improve and how to better yourself as a musician. So I guess that's only pluses.
And you can turn them into pluses. Do you get frustrated with people bugging you with all those helpful comments?
Of course.
And what do you do then?
Look, it's mostly helpful, but you know, it can get a little annoying sometimes, but no, we must learn to evolve, and they help me with that.
That is so true. Did you come here with anyone from your family or just by yourself?
My father came here with me, and we staying in Buffalo, so it's very nice.
Are you going to tour around, see any of the area?
And I'm sure we'll explore a little around the city, but mostly we're here for the concert, so.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Well, I'm sure you are eager to unpack your instrument and warm it up before your rehearsal, so I won't keep you any longer. And thank you very much for speaking with me and sharing your life experience.
Yeah, thank you.
Best of luck. Looking forward to your glorious performance.
Thank you.
And now we have in our studio Nahar Elias, cellist from Israel. And I understand, Nahar, you just arrived a day ago, so you must be jet lagged.
We just talked about it, and I am super jet lagged. I think it's 4 a.m. in Israel, and I definitely feel like it's 4 a.m. I'm like losing my mind a bit, but it's fun. I like that.
And you just had a very successful rehearsal in this beautiful King concert hall. And by the way, the guy behind you is King.
Yeah, he's a cellist. He's Harry King. I just talked about it to some guy here, and he told me he died a long time ago. But yeah, he looks really nice.
Yeah, he got this wonderful concert hall named after him.
Yeah.
And Nahar, you're very young. You're just 16, but you're a winner of absolute first prizes of more than 20 international competitions. You're really a seasoned competitor, aren't you?
Yeah, I don't know. I actually about 16. I'm turning 17 in less than 10 days.
Well, you're
I'm
still
like-
16, sweet 16.
I know, yeah, but I mean, I'm looking to the future. So actually, in I think 5 days. I think it's the 14th. So I'm gonna be 16 in 6 days, 17 in 6 days. So yeah, that's exciting.
But you already performed and really famous concert venues like Lincoln Center, Carnegie Hall, Jordan Hall in Boston, and many other places in around the world. And you performed with the orchestras before, with the very famous Jerusalem Symphony, right? And
Yeah.
among others.
Yeah, I did, and it was everything you mentioned. Everything is really an important experience for me. I learned from every single one of those experiences, a lot, actually, and everything was very fun. With the symphony in Jerusalem, I actually played the Saint-Saëns, I think, as well in the Haydn, and a bunch of more orchestras in Israel. I think it's been my dream since I was very young, to do this, and I'm so happy I get to do this now. It's harder than I thought, but it's still fun.
So you wanted to be a touring professional performer ever since you were young?
Since I was, I guess, almost 5 years old. Yeah, and it was really young. My inspiration, Jacqueline Dupre, the amazing cellist. So when I was young, every night I would drive my sister crazy because we lived in the same room, and I would listen to her play the Dvorak and Allegro Concerto on repeat for I think the entire maybe years. I'm not joking, years. And she would hate it so much, but she was my biggest, and still is my biggest inspiration. So since I was young, I always wanted to play, orchestras, and I love music so much. I love making people smile and myself smile when I do it. So there's nothing better than that. It's the best thing you can do, really.
It certainly is your world, and you sound like you're really enjoying it, like you're in your own element when you're performing.
I always try to, it's always important to me to have my personal interpretation of a piece and what I feel, what I think about it, because I think it's what makes an artist. If you're just trying to copy someone, it's fine to have inspirations, I'm not saying that, but always important to have your own kind of, connection with the piece. It's, in the end of the day, it's just music. It's just notes on a paper. You need to, feel whatever you want, tell a story, and that's just so much fun to do every single time.
But it also takes a lot of support. You have fabulous teachers. You're studying with Professor Lawrence Lesser right now and Professor Hillel Zori. These are fantastic musicians. I'm sure they're sharing a wealth of experience and knowledge and tricks and tips with you.
For sure. They've done this many more years than I have. And I think I love their advices so much. Both of them are amazing teachers because they can share, I think mostly also mental advices for me, not everything is about always just technical stuff. Obviously that's really helpful, but sometimes it's about, because they've been through so much, they can look everything from more up than I can, the bigger picture, you can say. And that sometimes helps me because I look at everything I want to do this the best and this one the best. So they're it's okay, you can, they can give me mental advice, which I think it's important for everyone in every job. In everything you do.
Absolutely. It's very important to have wonderful trusted mentors who can show you the bigger picture, just like you said.
Yeah.
Well, you just need support from people. And that's all you need. The rest you're doing yourself. You're studying music, you're learning new pieces, you're performing, you're courageous, you walk on big stages and you enjoy it. You really fly with the moment and putting your heart into music. But if you could have any wish in the world, what would you like people around you do more for you to help you achieve your goals and your dreams?
That's a great question, I think. I'm going to answer this in a bit complicated way. I hope it's fine.
Totally fine. Go for it.
Fine? Okay, I want to tell a story. Okay? Story
Please
time.
do.
So, since I was very young, as I told you, I loved listening, 4 years old, I loved listening to classical music every single night. I would imagine myself play in a big stage and everything, and just listening to it. And, I feel many kids, especially children in my age or even younger, they don't really know classical music because they have, bad stereotypes about it, it's boring, it's long, people dress it all in black, But that's not true. I think classical music has everything pop and rock has, even better. I mean, I love pop and rock, I love everything. I love everything really, but classical music is no different from any other kind of music. And my wish, biggest one, is that people, especially in my age, will listen to it and I think and love it as much as I do, or however they feel about it. You know, it's just music, and I feel like the way to do it is that we in the industry need to change our image and everything, like how we dress, how we talk, everything. I think I'm trying to do it with the way, you know, I speak and talk. I want to appear more casually, and I think, and I am. It's how I really am. I'm not like, it's how I am in real life. So I think all of us, doesn't matter what we do in the industry, need to make it a bit more appealing to younger audience. So, because I think we're missing a lot of people that we really enjoy it if we just change the image, you know.
And how would you advise for older people, like the generation of your teachers, to change their image?
I feel like it's not really from the teachers. I feel like, again, I love the music. Nothing to change about the music itself, because that's perfect already. Everything aside from the music, the actual music, we should change. Even the way we dress, the way we advertise the concerts, because we know what younger people want. We live, all of us, in the reality. We all know what goes popular and what not. So we should, all of us, in every way possible. It's going to take a lot of time. I'm not saying it's very easy. It's very difficult, but we should try and change things slowly. Whether it's how we dress, how we talk, how we advertise, everything. Make it appealing to everyone, so everyone can enjoy it from every single age. Yeah.
Yeah, not to be so snobbish, right?
No. No.
But that's a great advice. Listen to the young people, really understand what younger generation wants, and to appeal so that they have the door open for this great ocean of beautiful music you write.
Yeah.
Wonderful advice. Thank you, Nahar. Thank you for your talent. Thank you for your dedication and love for music, for speaking with me. I'm so looking forward to hearing your concert.
Thank you. Me too. I'm just kidding. No, thank you.
Go get some sleep.
I really, really want to. I don't know where. Maybe here. I don't know. I'll find somewhere.
Yeah. You need some rest so you're fresh for your concert tomorrow.
Oh, definitely.
Wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
See you. Bye-bye for now.
Bye. Thank you.
And those were the interviews with the performers that you just heard perform. So those interviews happened before the concert. And thank you everybody who stuck around to hear those conversations with the performers. And yeah, now you guys just heard the concert itself. And so that finishes our broadcast for the concert today. But we have another one coming on the 19th in 2 days. It's going to be at the King Concert Hall at 4 p.m. The stream will actually start at 3:30 p.m. where I'll talk about the performers. I'll talk a little bit more again about what's involved in making these productions possible, what companies and what groups of people and wonderful associations are involved in making these concerts so fantastic and bringing such wonderful musicians to these stages and bringing so many wonderful talents together to make such exciting concerts happen. So we hope to see you there at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And then the performers will be live playing on stage at 4. So yeah, thank you so much everyone for sticking around, and hope to see you in 2 days. Have a great night.